Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's really nice to be here. That nice is really overpowering. But so my name is Sabeena and I'm an educationist, and I want to start by a little exercise. I want all of you to close your eyes for a minute. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. I want you to think about your schooling days when you were young. What were they like? How did you feel? Did you really study for the sake of learning?
Yes.
Yes. Wow, great answers. Now you can slowly open your eyes. Thank you so much for doing that exercise. So it was great to hear some mixed responses. And chances are, if you're like an average Pakistani, most of the kids actually don't enjoy learning, and they don't really learn for the sake of learning. It's always a means towards an end. And there are many individuals who are sadly written off. I'm sure many of you could relate when you were at one point in time written off. ये तो नहीं कर सकते, ये तो होगा ही नहीं. I have faced that multiple times. I was a teacher. I started a decade ago, and one of my students, her class में there are a few students जिनको society ने write off कर दिया होता है शुरू से. They think that ये तो weak बच्चा है, ये कभी कर नहीं सकता, from parents, teachers, and that kid starts feeling that way, that I can't do anything. So that kid in my class who had already given up, thought that I'm just here to pass time, and there was a similar behavior that you see in these children. They won't participate in any form of learning, or assignments, no, they won't do it. But I was hell-bent on getting something out of her. Or in this one time, she scribbled something on the paper because I forced her to write something. I literally couldn't understand what she wrote, and I was kind of lost at that time, didn't know what to do. So what I did was I just pointed out one thing, and I gave her lots of stars, and I said, great work, brilliant. Over the next few weeks, she actually started writing. I still couldn't understand anything, but she used to come to me and beg me, please check my work. And eventually she learned writing. She mastered the art. All she wanted was for somebody to believe in her, and that's it. We want people in our life to believe in us, to have our back, to support us. Sadly, this is the situation of our society currently. There are 75% people in Pakistan who don't read. There are 22 million children out of school, and this number has actually increased after COVID. Even the ones who are going, 40% cannot do basic division when they're in grade 5. So this literally shows you a dismal situation, and you can imagine that this is basically your next generation of Pakistan. So what are we doing wrong? I'll share a few stats with you. There was a longitudinal study by NASA. They picked 1,600 5- and 4-year-olds, and what they did was they wanted to check their genius level. And guess what? 98% ended up scoring genius level creativity at a very high level. But guess what happened? After 5 years, this number dropped to 30%. And after another 5 years, this dropped to 12%. This was also administered with adults who were only 2% of whom were able to score the genius level. What does this show? This basically shows your broken education system. This basically shows kids are genius. But sadly, हम इस तरह आपको लेके चलते हैं education system में. And research proves that. If you want to find some inspiration, we can go back and look at history. We found Socrates, who's the father of philosophy, and he was sentenced to death. Why? Because he was teaching philosophy to his kids. And he was also given an offer as a way out, and the condition was stop teaching philosophy, stop corrupting young minds. And he chose the death sentence. Can you imagine choosing that for yourself? He chose the death sentence mastered the art of medicine. And he ended up curing the king of Bukhara at that time. And the king said, "What do you want? Ask me and I'll give it to you." And what did he ended up asking? If he was like any other ordinary person, he would have asked for gold and wealth and luxury. But no, he asked for an access to a library where he could just lose himself in the vast sea of knowledge. Can you imagine doing that for yourself? Can you imagine asking that? This is what history shows us. This is what history tells us. These are the people who basically build the foundation of the society that's built right in. These people show convergent thinking. And they defied that. They basically defied the norms and conventional wisdom. And that's how you progress. You need people who can challenge ideas. My journey in education started, as I told you, a decade ago, and I have these beautiful stories. I think I started in a government school, and my family, friends, everybody stopped me from doing that because they thought I wouldn't be able to survive. It's a very different kind of mahal or to survive in Kasabogi. And I had a completely different experience. These kids were so brilliant that they ended up teaching me much more than I taught them. And these were the tiny little things through which we brought joy back into classrooms. We made learning fun. And I'll share a few examples with you. I had a kid, her name was Saba, she was in grade 6, and honestly I thought she was either dyslexic or something because she had these patterns in her work that she produced. And she used to write THE the as DA the. And I corrected her so many times, but she ended up writing it the same way. And once I confronted her and asked her why did you do that, and she basically challenged me. She said, "You're wrong. It sounds like he is. So why are you telling me the wrong thing?" This literally showed that she had mastered the knowledge of phonics. But sadly, English language chose to distract us with tricky words. But I was really happy because I was able to provide her a safe space where she could challenge her teacher. And we don't provide that space to our kids nowadays. So once you do that, kids demonstrate mastery and kids demonstrate geniusness. And they end up teaching you a lot more than you teach what you teach them. There was another story where this school, they didn't have library, they didn't have exposure to reading, as we saw from the initial stats how much we end up reading. So we thought that let's make a library. The school didn't have the space. We got these old milk cartons, my cousin made hundreds of storybooks, and it was mandatory for every kid to borrow a book. And what happened was, during break time, there was a huge line where kids were waiting for their turn to actually read to me. I have never seen kids sacrificing their break time to read. And it really showed the kind of joy they found in reading, in learning. And they ended up achieving great scores as well. I was really excited about my teaching journey, but I was always thinking about, what about the 70 million kids in Pakistan, most of whom are actually not in schools, and even the ones who are going and not really learning anything? What about them? And that's when I joined Sabeena Abbasi, which is an educational technology organization, where we use technology to scale quality education. And over there, we ask ourselves a fundamental question almost every day. How do we make learning engaging for kids? And we ended up doing this research all over the country where we asked parents and teachers and kids, why do we learn? And there were some really interesting stories that emerged. Kids who couldn't really understand these basic concepts of parameter. I don't know if you guys remember parameter. And there was this farming village. We noticed that they were actually trying this concept when they were preparing for their field. And when we used that example, they understood the concept. Similarly with division. You apply division, especially in cricket. Cricket is something that we all love. And when we use that example, they immediately learn it. So it's about the context. It's about making sure the kid doesn't ask why. I'm sure all of you have asked why when you were in school. Why am I studying this? How will this help me? And we make sure that the kid doesn't have to ask that. Why am I learning this? At Sabeena Abbasi, we use technology to make sure has access to high quality education. Currently, our app has more than 1.6 million downloads. We didn't stop there. We wanted to revolutionize educational media and become the Sesame Street of Pakistan. And we did that. The content that we produce actually shows up in Pakistan television literally every week since the last 3 years. And more than 8.5 million viewers are actually looking at it. People who don't have access to schools, especially when during floods and all of these catastrophes when they can't go to school, this is how you revolutionize education. We didn't stop there. We wanted to go mainstream when it comes to schools where your mainstream education happens. And we ended up training 10,000 teachers so far. And we will never stop until we reach all the students and all the teachers in Pakistan. I'm sure everybody's heard about ChatGPT, the famous ChatGPT, which is buzzing all around. And there's a huge debate. How do we use that, or how do we ban it? There's a huge debate going on. So I visited one school, again in a local locality, and I got my laptop and I gave it to a student, and I asked him, you can learn through this. You can type whatever you want. बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी नहीं थी उसकी language skills, but I just gave it to him and I left. I came back after an hour. GPT had timed out, but his thirst wasn't satisfied. He wanted to learn more. And when I checked his chat, he moved from maths to English to SST to Urdu, and it really showed a pattern of how kids want to learn. It's not how we structure education. It's very different. Think about how you want to learn. When was the last time you were asked, what do you want to learn? Let's start with that. So it's about asking yourself that question. It's about freeing your thoughts. Because even if you're stuck in a never-ending place, even if you're in a class or a jail, if your mind is free, if your thought is free, you can accomplish anything that you want. As I showed you, the genius level of those 5-year-old kids. I would like to end with my favorite poem of Iqbal, and that's something that I always read to remind myself whenever I'm pulled by the society rules and the poverty. सितारों से आगे जहां और भी है, अभी इश्क़ इम्तिहान और भी है, कहीं जिंदगी से नहीं ये फिजाएं, यहाँ से फिरों का माँ और भी है, कनात न कर आलमे रंगों को पर, चमन और में आशियाँ और भी है, इसी रोज़ शब में उलझ कर न रह जा, मकामत आओ फगा और भी है, तू शाही है परवाज़ से काम तेरा, तेरे सामने आसमां और भी है, गए दिन के तन्हा था मैं